And then the next little thing he does, he goes like this, which is kind of another one of the signature licks of the song. Later he gets going. That's one of my favorite parts of this tune, but he just does it one lick there. So he comes out of this lick, and he goes into that same little walking bass line that we started out the song with, 5th fret of the 5th string, 3/5 on the 4th string, 3rd fret of the 3rd string. But now it's going to go to the 3rd fret of the 6th string, our G bass, and then to a double stop on the 3rd fret of the 3rd and 4th strings, and winds up on the 5th fret of the 5th string. So that whole little sequence there from the previous riff. And then he goes into this, which is another riff that we'll use throughout the song. He's going to climb into it. 5th fret, again, the same little climb. And he's going to, this time I think he's sliding from the 5th to the 7th on the 3rd string. Then to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And he winds up, does it twice, winds up on the 5th fret of the 3rd string. So he climbs into it like this. And that's the next riff. So let's take that whole kind of last part where he does this. Then he does this. So he's starting on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, to the 6th fret, 3rd fret of the 1st string, 5th fret of the 1st string, and back to the 3rd fret. Coming back the way he came, but this time he's going to go 6, 5, 3 on the 2nd string. And then the band, again, that same little double stop riff that we've used before. 5-3 on the 3rd string to the 5th fret of the 4th string. So let's take it from the little double stop thing here. Us into the turnaround, which I still not positive if I'm hearing it clearly. I think I've got it closer than what I did the first time I did this lesson. But I think he's doing this little triplet on the 5th fret of the 5th string. Something like that. So that's the first thing. Twice. So 2 times on the 5th fret of the 5th string, 4, 3 on the 5th string. And he climbs right back up again. Same walk, 3 to 5, which we do a lot on the 4th string. You can do a little double stop, or just hit the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, or get the 2nd string in there too. And then right there he's going to go to the G, 3rd fret of the 6th string. So here's what I'm hearing. Then he's going to end it with that little double stop with his first finger on the 3rd fret, 3rd and 4th string, to the 5, which is the D on the 5th fret of the 5th string. And that's where he wraps up the verse. So let's do that turnaround again. Whoops, one more time. That's what I'm hearing. Again. I think he's just getting one string there. And that is the end of the second verse of Lowell Fulson's Rollin Blues. Third verse, Rollin Blues by Lowell Fulson. Now he's going to go into one of the coolest parts of the song, one of my favorite parts to play, where he goes like this. And that part, he's going to walk into it, just like we've done before. Then he's going to go to the 3rd fret of the 6th string, the G, twice. And then to the double stop at the 3rd and 4th strings of the 3rd fret. He's going to bounce back and forth between that and the 5th fret of the 5th string. So the whole thing. That's the melody. One more time. Again. So he does that twice. And then over the 4, after he plays that, he's going to do a variation of that where he goes like this. And he's playing that over the E or the C or the 4. So he starts out the same way, but then he goes to the 4, which is the 3rd fret of the 5th string, the C. Then now he's going to go to the 5th fret of the 2nd and 3rd string, double stop, same thing on the 3rd frets, whole thing. Back and forth between the 3rd fret of the 3rd string and the 5th fret of the 4th string. I gotta play it in context. And then he's gonna go. Back to that, and then same thing we did before. Now we go into the next. Now before we go any further, I just want to go back to the previous verse and show you something I left out. When you go to this lick, there's a lead in. And I left that out when I showed it to you the last time around. And then he does this. I didn't show you that. When he gets to this, 5th fret of the 4th string, he's going to get the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. So the whole lick goes that, like this. And then he does the turnaround. Like that. So that's one of those little subtleties. You got to listen real carefully, and I forgot to throw that in. So one more time, he goes like this. Going to take us in to the next. Now the next verse, he does this horn riff thing. Now in the song, the original recording on Chess Records, Lowell Fulson has a horn section playing with him that fills this in, but there's a way you can simulate or emulate what he's doing or what the horn section is doing and fill this in if you're playing this yourself. So he starts out with this lick like this. Let me just play the whole thing through for you one time. And he plays that. So the first part, he's going to start on the 3rd fret to the 4th fret on the 3rd string. 3, 5 on the 2nd string, a double stop where your pick is just dragging downward, getting both the 2nd and 1st strings on the 3rd fret. Then you wind up with your ring finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. So the whole riff. And you can just play the single notes, or you can throw in the double stop. And he does it very subtly. If you listen carefully, it sounds like he's just barely getting the double stop. But you have to, if you want to play it exactly like he does, you can work on that. But I'm just playing it straightforward. Then the horns in the background are playing this riff. And I'm just doing this double stop riff, which is pretty common to electric blues. Got my first and second fingers. First finger is on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Ring finger is on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. And I'm just picking that twice and then flattening my ring finger out on the 5th fret, 2nd and 3rd string. And then you repeat that riff. And then when you go over the 4, I'm just playing over this, the C, 2nd position bar chord. 3, 5, 3 on the 1st string, 5th fret of the 1st string, 3, back to 5. And then the horns, I'm just flattening out and playing over that chord shape again, a C, the 4 chord. First finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd and 3rd string. Ring finger on the 2nd and 3rd strings at the 5th fret. And I play that riff again. Now he's going to lead into the turnaround or the 5. He goes 3, 5 on the 2nd string, 3rd fret of the 1st string, little bend on the 5th fret of the 1st string. Then he goes back to the 5th fret, 3rd fret, 1st string, 6th fret of the 2nd string, to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So let's take this whole next verse, 4th verse, from the beginning, from the horn riff. And then we'll take it from right. The next phrase that he does here is a bend on the 4th string. This is what I call a long bend. It's got or the 6th fret of the 2nd string, 4-finger bend. Got my first finger on the 3rd fret. My fingers go on the frets right to the 6th fret with my pinky or 4th finger. It does a slight bend. And then 1st string, 3rd fret, 6, 5, 3 on the 2nd string. So the whole thing. And we get that little riff again. That's the double stop with the 3rd string bent and the 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So the whole phrase. He's going to go back and forth between the 3rd fret of the 3rd string and the 5th fret of the 4th string. So the whole thing. He's going to get 5th fret of the 3rd string in there too. Right there. Now you can do that, or in the tune, he's going to lead into the next verse, which is a real melodic horn part. So I'm going to show you that. So he does this. So that little riff. Whoop. I think that's what he does. So he's starting on the 5th fret of the 5th string, 3, 5 on the 4th string, 3, 4 on the 3rd string, 3, 5 on the 2nd string, twice, and he lets that hang on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. And I think he gets the 2nd string, 6th fret of the 2nd string, 3rd fret, 2nd string, and then ends on that note, which is at the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So let's take that whole last part of that verse again. Right there. So that is an interesting verse. Now again, use the tab, go back through one phrase at a time, and put it all together. So the turnaround, instead of this, instead of that, he's doing this to lead into the horn solo. We'll get to that next.